I'm here today with our former U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, also known as Abe, the Great Emancipator, the Liberator, and also known as the Rail Splitter. So, Abe, can you tell us a little bit about your nickname, the Rail Splitter?
Well, for starters, I honestly don't like the name Abe. I prefer Lincoln. But back to the Rail Splitter. It was a nickname for me that originated in Illinois' State Republican Convention back in May of 1860. It started when John Hanks marched into the convention hall with two fence rails saying, "Abe Lincoln, the rail candidate for president." I have actually served as a soldier, a hostmaster, a surveyor, and a rail splitter before pursuing the law and politics. I've been told that the nickname capitalized on my humble beginnings.
So can you go into detail of how was your school life? And what was school like for you as a kid?
Well, honestly, I didn't like school very much. But in total, I've only stayed in school for about 18 months. But it didn't stop me from practicing law without a degree. And in my opinion, I feel like I've been pretty successful in law. The first legal document I wrote was for my friend back in New Salem back in November of 1831. And actually to this day, I've written about 30 legal documents.
Only around 30? Around 30?
I mean, yeah, 30 is a pretty solid number.
So can you basically tell me and the viewers at home what your outlook on the war, the Civil War, was?
Well, my outlook on the war was I really honestly did not want a war, but I figured that it had to happen. But all the war was going to do was destroy the unity between the Americans and would kill what our founding fathers stood for.
Giving your perspective on the outlook of the war, why did you choose to leave the Union?
Well, that's a good question. I went with the Union for various reasons, one of them being the way that I was raised. I was born in Hardin County, Kentucky, and my mother and father were Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks. I saw my father lose everything he had when they took the farm from him. So when the South was discussing the issue of slavery, I was against it 100%. Also as a child, I went to the separate Baptist church in which they taught that slavery was against God's plan.
Now, from what I've heard from one of my friends in the office, is it true that you had a patent on an invention?
Actually, yes, I did. It never came into manufacturing, but I created a device that would lift boats over a shoal. And do y'all know what a shoal is?
I don't know what a shoal is, but I don't think the viewers at home know what a shoal is.
Alright, a shoal is a large group of fish swimming together. So basically, the device would lift the boat over the large group of fish.
Interesting.
Alright. Mr. Lincoln, we're having a good time so far.
That we are.
All right. Is it true that you wrote the Gettysburg Address on the back of an envelope?
I've heard that one many times. But no, against popular belief, I wrote the address with great care. I wrote 5 original copies of the address, and none, however, were written on the back of any of them.
Very interesting. What were some of the biggest failures in life?
Biggest failures? In the early 1830s, I was around 23, 24 years old. I lost my job when running for state legislator. I failed in the opportunity for running a business, and the love of my life died. May she rest in peace.
All right.
I also had a very severe nervous breakdown, all in the span of around 3 to 4 years.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Later on in the 1850s, however, I was defeated when running for Senate, and my nomination as vice president failed as well. So it was a tough couple years.
Sorry. Since you were against slavery, did you own any slaves yourself?
Actually, no. I've never owned a single slave in my entire life. It was against everything I stood for as a politician and as a man. My parents raised me better than that.
All right. And without your top hat, how tall do you stand?
I'm a top hat. I know everyone thinks I'm some sort of giant because of my hat. Gives me a couple extra inches. But in reality, I'm only around 6'4". I know that's still tall, but I'm no giant.
All right. And what was it like throughout your campaign running for president multiple times?
It was a long and hard road here. I had previously lost around five elections
5, wow.
before I finally won because my campaign and what I was standing for was against a lot of the Southern people.
Right.
And at one point, I actually had a campaign against my former general.
Oh, man. All right. And we all have one more question. Was it worth going to the theater that night?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.